President Driscoll, members of the Board of Trustees, Vice Presidents, Deans, and other distinguished members of the platform, distinguished guests, faculty, family, and friends of the graduates, and the graduating students of 2015. Thank you for this honor and opportunity to address the 2015 graduates. As a social psychologist, I want to offer you a few tips for making choices in a constantly changing world, tips that will potentially lead to a satisfying and successful life. In my comments, I refer to success, but first I want to question the meaning of success, and I encourage you to carefully reflect on what success means to you. Often success in the good life referred to affluence, wealth, the accumulation of many material resources. But here I use success to refer to happiness and subjective well-being. The tips I give are not my personal observations or beliefs, but are the conclusions based on the scientific study of happiness across a large number of people. I want to first note that happiness is not a destination, but a state of being. It is not accomplished in the long run, but is actually experienced every day. Secondly, I want to mention that with reflection, we would probably all agree that the path or process of happiness is not consistent with hate, with revenge, exclusion, intolerance, or discrimination. Although some would argue that our decisions are frequently based on either fear or love, if that is true, then opting for love is the option associated with happiness and well-being. Or as the Beatles told us, all you need is love. Most graduates today are seeking a good job, and I wish you success in employment. But what many mean by a good job is a job with a high salary and maybe good benefits. Certainly salary is important, as we need to pay for food, clothing, transportation, recreation, a roof over our heads, and we need to pay back those student loans. But research indicates that beyond providing this level of resource, money is not really related to happiness and well-being. The richest people in the world are not the happiest. And the extra $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 doesn't really get you a boost in happiness. All relatedly, some people believe that a life of leisure is a worthwhile goal. But actually, the research is clear that most people doing nothing leads to boredom and anxiety, not to happiness. What is related to happiness and well-being is being engaged in meaningful work. The meaningfulness of work depends on the individual's own passion and skills. People enjoy different work and activities depending on their background, their experience, and skill levels. But commonly, people enjoy work that is challenging and yet can be accomplished when we try hard, focus, and use our skills. When we are fully engaged in a challenging and meaningful task or work, we may experience flow. Flow refers to being in the zone. When we're in the zone, we're not attentive to distractions, to time, or even to ourselves. Experiencing flow is a sense of joy. When we engage in work for money or to meet someone else's deadlines, demands, or expectations, we are less likely to enjoy it and unlikely to experience flow. People make decisions based on pragmatics, or sometimes choose to do what they perceive as a safe choice. but one can fail at safe careers and at jobs that we don't really like. So why not take a chance at doing what you love? As a social psychologist who studies happiness, well-being, and flow, my wish for you is that you find meaningful work to do. Psychologists agree that happiness involves having important, intimate relationships. And most students today continue to aspire to marriage or a long-term committed relationship. But marriages and partnerships today are far different from those of yesteryear. Women's lives are no longer dominated by the rhythm of procreation and childcare. Young women today are less constrained by social conventions or doing what other people think you should do. Women today have more options and opportunities and less rules to follow about what they should do, and this makes their conscious choices important. Men, too, have new options and have to make choices to work for a balance between personal and family life and work responsibilities. In their quest for relationships, most students are in search of egalitarian relationships. And research confirms that egalitarian or equality in our relationships is connected strongly with happiness and well-being. However, relationships that are equal are often difficult to pursue, to find, and to maintain. In order to do so, we have to make a series of careful decisions, and today's relationships involve varied and flexible roles, with both partners contributing potentially to child care and the maintenance of the home. For successful and satisfying intimate relationships, men in particular are likely to develop different patterns of work-family balance from men in previous generations. Important ingredients in creating egalitarian relationships are flexibility and respect. The sociologist Michael Kimmel argues that contributing to childcare, taking on household responsibilities, and respect can benefit men, their wives, and their children, all of them scoring higher on satisfaction, happiness, and well-being. Social support is an important ingredient for happiness and is not limited to spouses or partners. Having one or more circle of friends is important to having the good life. In addition to friendships formed in childhood, at college, one may find social support networks through church, through work, in one's neighborhood, through hobbies, or other interest groups. When I ask my advisees what groups they are engaged in on campus, I am saddened that many of them say none. This is why I've included this advice in my remarks, because I realize people need to be advised to make friends and join groups. It's important throughout our lives to find and connect with individuals and groups that share interests and values. A focus on oneself and on being at the top of the heap is highly valued in our culture. But actually, accomplishing this goal of doing better than others is not as fulfilling as you might think. More satisfying than outdoing, outperforming, and leaving others in the dust is contributing to the well-being of others and working in collaboration and community with them. Very successful CEOs, for example, report that they were happiest when they went to work with the community to deliver services for others. Community service is a top source of happiness and well-being. We may benefit from collaborating, cooperating, and contributing to an ongoing community. Such groups may be a parish, a congregation, a synagogue, a temple, but they can also be secular, such as a garden club, a conservancy, a chapter of Habitat for Humanity, or any other social organization. It's difficult to save the world or change the world as an individual, but we can accomplish much more working with a group of individuals who share our goals. I have a few other tips for being happy, and one is laughing out loud. Humor has shown to be a really important ingredient in happiness, and I apologize that I don't have more humor or jokes in my talk. An age-old advice is to count your blessings. New research shows that this is indeed good advice. They refer to it as gratitude is the attitude. And it shows that people who take time to appreciate what they have and recognize their privileges actually are happier. And they recommend a moment of gratitude daily. Meditation and mindfulness are very trendy right now, but they're really not just trends. They're thousands of years old as a practice that has shown to contribute to people's health and happiness. There's a variety of ways that you could practice being in the present, including breathing exercises, yoga, relaxation, and meditation. My advice is to practice one of these, because mindfulness and being in the present is an important ingredient in happiness. I wanted to talk a little here about learning, starting with the idea that everything I know that's important, I did not learn in kindergarten. But what I did learn in kindergarten was that learning in school was fun. What I understand about life and happiness, I actually learned in graduate school. What I learned in graduate school was that the fun and excitement of thinking, of ideas, of insight, and of learning has been undermined for many, many people by the aspects of schooling that we subject students to here in the United States, including grading, competition, criticism, close supervision of our work, meaningless assignments done on strict deadlines, and not letting our students follow their own interests. Perhaps many of you today have been able to maintain a joy of learning and of ideas throughout your many years of schooling and college. Congratulations. For those of you who have lost your intrinsic interest in learning, your love of ideas and learning something new, now that you have graduated from school, you may find your way back to the intrinsic motivation and pure joy of learning and reading. Find the joy and fun in ideas, insights, and knowing something new. What I learned in Catholic grade school was that my intelligence is a gift. The nuns would say, a gift from God. For others, music or athletic ability is a special gift. In each case, I learned it's our responsibility to develop that gift and to use it to the best of our ability to benefit others. Let our light shine. In composing your life, you might ask, what does the world need that I can supply? We can share ourselves with others when we understand and appreciate who we are, and when we are not trying to be someone else. Do not hide behind a disguise. Take the risk of being you and being seen by others. Authenticity and self-acceptance are important to success and to happiness. To recap, find meaningful work. Use your mind. Work for joy. Share your gift. Make friends. Contribute to community. Develop strong and equal relationships. Be flexible. Adapt to change. Take a chance. Risk being yourself. And as one person summarized, love where you are, love what you do, and love who you're with. have a satisfying and successful life.